Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. It is the 23rd of April, 2018. And let's take a peek at these markets. Hope you all got. Oh, man, I hope I don't have a Monday like I'm feeling like I'm going to have. Hope you guys all had a good weekend. Hope you guys all had a safe weekend. Hope it was productive. Um, yeah, let's take a little gander through. I was just taking a look at Bitcoin here. It looks like it's going to break out here pretty soon. Um, Pulling up our trade idea, so they'll get posted to the portal here. One second. Um, if you are on the portal, okay, never mind. All right, I was just checking that. Okay, let's take a look now. We had a few trades going on. On Friday, we were just kind of looking at what our options were because we had some great trades last week. Actually, so far for the year, it's been pretty excellent. Our first one we were looking at was a short on the euro on a pullback to the 123.22 zone, and or the 123.39. So we're looking at a return to this value area. If we were using the clouds, though, is what we've been looking at using. So this is on Friday, and we've had a real big throwdown in price. And this angle here, actually, you can see it more clearly here. But if we look at the 4-hour chart, you see this is a wedge. Okay, this wedge has been forming. It's been tightening. It's been consolidating. We're getting a series of higher lows, but we're getting a series of lower highs as well. And right now, I highlighted these areas because this is where we've kind of fallen through. And what's interesting to me is that if we look at this on the daily chart, this horizontal line on the euro within the composite index has always kind of been lately a real support zone. In fact, we see the same kind of behavior on the RSI, where the level 40 zone has been kind of a support zone for the RSI. We've always seen price rebound pretty nicely from there on this uptrend for a while. And we're looking at that here in the composite index too, that line acting as like a support zone. However, today and starting into last night, we got a pretty nice jump down below this band. This is the first test below this zone that we've had. So it's going to be interesting to see how price responds to this level. So we're going to have to keep our eyes on that. If we want to look at it on the Ichimoku perspective, same line, same angle there in that wedge. If we're looking to go short again, which I believe we should be looking to go short again, we should be looking for, and actually, if we look at this, if this looks familiar to you, the 8-hour, the 8-hour cloud is the blue, 4-hour cloud is the orange, and then our 1 and 4-hour cloud is the green and red. We have fallen through that entire zone, and we are actually all of the lagging spans are below the cloud right now. So this is actually, in just technicals alone, a very strong short position. Want to look at this on the 8-hour. We have all of the conditions met for being short. We have the lagging span below the cloud, price is below the cloud, the conversion line is below the baseline, it's still resting in the cloud, but still we have a lot of conditions met for going short here. However, if I'm looking at the oscillator and the RSI here, I do see the opportunity for a bounce. So I'm cautious about going short, even though we do have that behavior here. So if I'm not holding from over the weekend, if I'm not holding from Friday still, then I have to look at another reentry. We do have a short bias because on the 8-hour, 4-hour, and 1-hour charts, we are all in selling conditions. On the daily, we're approaching selling conditions. It looks like we're finding support on the bottom of the cloud here, but we'll want to see, how that plays out here on the daily. Now, I've got a couple short ideas that we could that I'm looking at. I want to short on a pullback to the conversion, or to the baseline, which is sitting at 122.68. Or if we're using the daily, probably want to entertain the problem with shorting below here, which I'm not really opposed to, is that this is a natural supportive harmonic line here. So there is going to be some support around here. We could very well see price ranging between these two lines here. But if we were to fall through below 121.89, that would be a pretty good indication of a nice reversal on our kind of over a year-long trend. So we'll keep our eyes on that. Oh, that's telling me that the mouse is almost dead. I'm actually surprised how well this mouse lasts without a charge. Okay. The other trade we had was the dollar yen. We wanted to go long at 175 or 107.75. Obviously, that has played out very nicely. If you remember talking, way back in maybe February or so. Let's see. March 16th, really. We were talking about going long based on all these conditions, even though we fell through a little bit, but we found nice response off that harmonic, and we've just been moving up very nicely. And also, back on March 1st, we were indicating that this Gartley has a high chance of playing out, so the target zone there is the 120 zone. That's a little extended, I think. I don't know how realistic that is, but that's just how the math plays out. So the dollar yen, it's actually bouncing back pretty nicely here. We'll see if we get a continued rise. But, look at the dollar index. And bonds, U.S. bonds are 3% and better. I mean, it's going to be a rough trading season for a lot of folks. The euro might be looking a little weak right off the bat again. Pound dollar might be looking to sell off a little bit more. We're going to get back to this pound dollar here. But, the thing with the euro dollar is I'd hang on to my short if you're still short. But if we really break this low, the low of the day here, which is that at 22.25, I really feel like we're gonna have a good push down, because if by the end of the day we can't hold back above into that wedge, I think we're pretty biased for further downside moves. The pound too. I mean, this was probably one of the best trades we'll have for the year. We had forecasted this. Actually, really we had been forecasting it for, where are you at? Doot, 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 doot. Oh, back on March 16th, yeah, we were talking about the short opportunity, but it got extended for about a week, and actually longer than a week, about a month. And then we got into this condition here. This was on April 14th. We were talking about this a couple weeks ago, about going short on this here. Sorry, I had to sneeze. Didn't want to do that in front of you or all over the all over the microphone. So if we catch up to where we're currently at, I mean, we had a short idea put in on that on the 17th to short at 143.31. 143.31 on the 17th is what we did, and that has turned out very nicely. Really a great entry, and we're down a lot. That short has played out very nicely if you've been hanging on to it. I don't think you can really go wrong with that. If we want to take a peek here at the pound dollar, we can see that it structurally on this chart it has very little support. We don't see much of any support until we get down to 139.06. So really just a 139 handle. That's 60 pips below. If we take a peek on the Ichimoku, getting a kind of little structural bounce here. Very oversold in the RSI, but oversold in the RSI lately over the last year, over a year, is kind of a rarity. But so we should see how this plays out. Now this trend change we're experiencing is going to be pretty strong. If we look at it, where's our 4-hour cloud. We're below the 4-hour cloud now. So is the lagging span of the 4-hour cloud. And then if we look at the 8-hour, we are below the 8-hour cloud, and the 8-hour has just gotten below the lagging span. The lagging span's 8-hour. The 8-hour lagging span is below the 8-hour cloud. So we are below the 8, 4, and 1-hour clouds. We have all sorts of great selling conditions on this. Even if we missed this move, we are within the valid shorting area. Now, the short area to re-enter is definitely going to be on a pullback. And so we're going to want to see a pullback. This is a long-term upwards trend line. We've broken through 3 of them. And so this trend line here, we've gone through this one, and now this one. A return up to here would bring us to close proximity to the bottom of the 8-hour cloud and to the conversion line. So that's where we're probably looking to go short. Pull back to 1.4020. I think that's a decent zone, from swing to swing. Yeah. I don't know if we'll ever get back up there today. But I mean, we could. We'll see. We'll see how that plays out. Yeah. That's sitting there. Certainly, if we do experience some type of pullback even to the conversion line, and we start to see price kind of fade down again, certainly that you should entertain another short there. Just be aware that on the daily, we have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 consecutive down days. All right. If we get a 6th and a 7th, we're gonna have to consider looking at taking profit on all those shorts and maybe entertaining a short-term long opportunity. Remember the 7 days in the number 7 in Gann's analysis is very important. It indicates the end of things, and so any series of 7 we are looking to do the opposite of. Why doesn't that want to? There we go. All right. Now let's take a look at UJ. The dollar yen is just a beast. I mean, we continue to drive up here. Now, take a look at this for a second, okay? This is the 4-hour chart, and we are above the 1 hour. We've crossed above the 4 hour. All right. If we go back and we want to look, when was the last time price traded above the 4 hour cloud and held above it for any amount of time? Well, we're going to probably have to go back to look at 2017. We fell below the 4 hour cloud in November of 2017, and then when we tried to trade back up into it, we've just been rejected at it. So we've been below the 4 hour cloud for a while, you know, coming up on 6 months almost. And so this is our first time we finally crossed above it. You know, the last time we touched the 8 hour cloud was when we retested the break below it, and that was back on the 22nd of January. So we appear to have a lot of positive trend reversal structure here. That is something we have definitely been looking at, and this is still on the. That's, you know, a lot of us who have been trading, you know, if you've been with me, we've been taking longs and adding to those positions, you know, at, you know, anywhere between 104 and 106. You can look at any of the past videos too. We've been doing that. You know, if I can scroll up. Where are we at? 326. If we go look at 320, what? 22, 23, 3. Yeah, you know, if we look at these old trades, you know, we have a long USD JPY long and a pullback to 105.1. Long again at 105.1. You know, we've had a lot of trades taking longs here. You know, really based on our type, you know, the Gann analysis, doing the counts and using, you know, all of those methods of forecasting. Looking at it from our squared perspective, we're in a pretty good spot. We've been riding this 45 for a while. That's normal. That's healthy. We've approached the arc here. We're trading against it. Found some difficulty crossing above it. Finally did. And now we are trying to test above it. We may face a little bit of selling here if we cannot cross above it. So there's actually a couple long opportunities. You know, if we get a long, we can go long on a break above the high that we tried to break. So that's looking at long above it, a break and hold of the 108.28. That's a good one. And otherwise, you know, if we do get a deeper pullback, it will really back down to the bottom of this arc, or perhaps you know, we may have maybe more of a long-term fade to the 45 before we have another breakout. But certainly, you know, if we do hold this structure here on this arc, we should be pretty good. We've had a nice consistent trend up with the 45 here. You know, you really don't even need to draw it, but we can also see that there's a excuse me. Got a pretty parallel channel up here. Certainly, if we were to break above this, that'd be a pretty big deal. If we broke above this, that'd be pretty bullish. But we have to be aware. Even though we're very bullish on the dollar yen right now, we have to be aware and be cautious of being excited about trades that are profitable, because we can sometimes get into tunnel vision, and we can get into a kind of stuck in a singular bias. And so for me, oftentimes when I start to see something going my way, I start to question whether that was correct or not. If we remember what a parabolic rise is, and we've had a pretty consistent angled uptrend, right? And now if we look here, we start to see the slope of the rise has been increasing quite a bit. So this is not actually a healthy structure unless we get a massive drive to the upside, where it would basically kind of reset a new high and then just kind of base for a little while before making its next move. But otherwise, this is a fairly extended move, but big but, it's dangerous to short here. And so there are going to be a lot of people trying to short the dollar yen because it has exhibited so much weakness, and people are so confident on that trade that a lot of them are kind of be feeling a rise up here. So it would be very dangerous to entertain the thought of going short right now. Certainly not looking to short for a while. If we take a look at the weekly, we're getting a more we're probably going to end up shorting here at a 7-week count. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If we get 7 consecutive weeks up, then we should be looking to short, and that could probably be up at the 109.56 zone. We could really see that playing out. That'd be a pretty nice retracement from these most recent swings from here down to this low. That would be literally, yeah. That's let's assume and believe that price will move from here to 109.58, and then it'll experience a pullback. That's a huge confluence zone here. In fact, this will be probably the same kind of move that the pound dollar experienced. So when we get up to this zone, this is a square in time and price. So we are at a 4/8 harmonic in price, which is this blue horizontal line, and we are also at a 4/8 harmonic in time, which is this light blue vertical line. And when time and price intersect at a perfect square like that, things move. I mean, there is not a time when that happens where it doesn't show a significant move. This right here looks exactly like what happened in the pound dollar. Well, where are you at? Am I just not seeing it? Where did the pound dollar go? That's weird. Oops. Look it on the Murray chart. I don't know where I put it. Anyways, looking at it on this trade idea, the behavior is we had the we had a pivot in time and price. So this red horizontal line was a pivot in price, and this red vertical line was a pivot in time. And so when price intersected that zone, we expected to have a reversal, and that's what happened. So on the dollar yen, we should expect the same behavior as we get closer to that zone. All right. Now, I wouldn't, this is not until, really the end of May that we would get here. So we got to be aware of, if we were to surpass this horizontal line, if we were to surpass that on the move, then this kind of becomes a little bit of a not as powerful. So we'll have to see how price responds to these levels as we're moving. But certainly for the time being, so far, we are still very bullish, even though we are a little extended, but so was the move down. So don't short this move right now. It's a pretty healthy, strong drive up. It has a lot of momentum. Quick look at the pound dollar. Yeah, not finding a whole lot of support there. This move last week was just beautiful. And we should look to see some type of retracement, maybe back up to 140.62 this week possibly, but otherwise look for lower prices as we keep moving on. Aussie dollar. Oh, I'm a little upset I missed some of these moves. Aussie dollar, it's below its pivot here. Let's look at the cloud on the Aussie dollar. Yeah, so we're below the 4, the 8, and the 1. And all the lagging spans are below there too. In fact, the 8-hour cloud, the lagging span just kind of broke below, and we are now. This is this is a rarity. If you look at the RSI and the composite index, they are wildly in different directions here. Bias goes towards the composite index. Composite index catches things that the RSI does not. So what the composite index is telling us is that we have a divergence on this 4-hour chart, that this move is a little too fast, and that we should expect some type of pullback. It looks a little better on the 1 hour, but certainly, as we're looking at see here. Certainly, as we're looking at this chart, 1, 4, 8-hour chart, we're below. Probably anticipating lower prices. I mean, if we look at the daily, yeah, it's looking pretty bearish. There is that upwards trend line that we see. Oops. I want to take a look at it on this perspective. Usually when you go through this line and usually we're getting close to a spot where we should see a structural bounce happen. But we have fallen through this trend line. I knew there was another one back here. Yeah, definitely. We're approaching, you can't really see it in here, but there's an inner harmonic that is a pivot itself, acts as an oversold condition as we get down here. So however low price goes from here, we should really look at finding support off of this. So we might actually be able to take a short trade on this. And short, I mean in a duration, not in a direction. We could go long and limit. We don't want to go long for very long. Wow, use my words. A long trade that would go and retest this inner pivot. Now, if we break below this trend line, though, we probably don't want to entertain that. Keep our eyes on this. If I see something set up later on the day, I'll put in a trade alert. But otherwise, I mean, we're still looking pretty strong to the downside, and don't want to mess with the direction right now. New Zealand dollar. Now this is a great thing to see that we've had just this. This was another great trade over the last couple weeks. We've just had this real strong, throwdown in price. We've gone from 73.44 all the way down to 71.88. Really great moves. And if we want to take a look at the daily here, where we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We could say we're in a 7-day down move here, so we should see some type of structural bounce off of this 45 in this entire zone. So we could be looking at the same thing here as some type of short-term bounce. Again, look at where the New Zealand dollar is in its trading compared to its chart geometry. It is near a pivot in time and price. Okay? On the daily, it looks overextended. On the weekly, we're looking, neutral in the RSI, fairly neutral in the composite index. But I mean, let's take a peek here, though. Is that we have a divergence here. No, we don't. I thought we did, but we don't. Never mind. So the weekly looks okay. What's the monthly look like? Monthly's looking like a pretty nice sell opportunity. If we're going to follow a trend here, we should see, another probable drive down. Price pretty much got halted at that, a little below that 50% retracement there. Yep. Probably still going to move down, but we should expect some type of short-term bounce in the meantime. Pretty extended down here. Would like to see the RSI get a little lower, though, on the daily, but taking a peek at the hourly, probably isn't a bad trade to go long until we get back up to the 107.60. So yeah, that'd be a good one. Certainly the risk is limited to below this 45-degree angle here. This angle, if we have a nice breakdown below that, then we should consider avoiding it. Otherwise, we're looking a little extended here. I think we still definitely have a short bias, but for the time being, this is looking like a good bounce area. Same with the Aussie dollar. I think we should probably we should consider a long in here as well, just based on the length and the slope of the move warrants a technical and a structural bounce. This definitely should be something we look at. Look at it on another square we've done with a different time cycle. That has followed that fairly nicely. Aussie dollar. Yeah, we should really look at some type of bouncing activity here. Aussie dollar, New Zealand. I mean, it's a really short term trade. I mean, I'd only hang on to it until we get back to probably the lows of the last, swing box area. Yeah, there's support being found here. We could probably catch, 20 pips or so. Yeah, I like that trade. Let that one play out. Okay. Again, Mondays are kind of, they're kind of a drag. Sometimes they kind of seem like a Friday afternoon. But for the time being, again, if you're well into profit on some of these trades, I'd say stick with it, because we see some strong moves and changes in these markets today, and we should expect to see a continuation. A lot of them, on the New Zealand dollar and the Aussie dollar pair, there is a structural probability, high probability of a short-term bounce from this zone. So our risk is limited, because really, if we break down any farther, we can just re-enter the shorts. But for right now, I'm not. I went into profit on the Aussie dollar and the New Zealand dollar last week, so I don't have any trades open on them. So I'm willing to risk a short-term long on these, and again, my risk is not very much. It's all the way down here, so I've still got a lot of leeway to go short, and willing to catch a little profit on a bounce up here. Gold is looking ugly. Aussie dollar, yeah, it should get a structural bounce probably back up to the 4 hour there. Yeah. So those are trades. Again, pay attention to these markets. We've had a lot of big moves last week, and we should see how they play out. Looking at Monday might be just a little resting period, or might turn into some type of reset period. So be aware of that. Again, make sure that you guys take care of yourselves. Keep a good head on your shoulders. It's easy to come away from a week like last week, or really over the last couple of months, where we've had some really great trade opportunities and yielded some fantastic profit. It's really easy to get into the mindset that you are going to naturally have that kind of luck going forward. I forget what that's called. It's like something in basketball where somebody keeps making these 3-pointers, and they believe they're not going to miss, so they don't miss. Trading is not like that. Trading is, I've said it before, that the worst thing that can happen to me, the worst thing that I think that can happen to any trader, is to find a trade that was extremely successful, or have a series of successful trades, because that's when we get vulnerable. That's when we start to be more risky. There are a lot of trading psychology books that say that is exactly what you should do, is when you are feeling positive and good about yourself and about your trading, that is when you should increase your risk, and when you're not, that's when you should decrease your risk. I know that for me, I do not do well after I've had a lot of successful trades and a lot of profitable trades. I can get a little bit of an ego and start to feel really confident, and then reality, the normal trading activity resumes, and you experience losses, and that can bring you down. So if you are riding a high from a lot of profit and wins, take a break. If the weekend wasn't enough, if you're still if you come into here's an idea that you're not ready to come back to trading, is that if over the weekend you were kept seeing how much money you could be making in these trades, and that you were excited to come back to the trade desk, and you just couldn't wait to see how much more money, like you are euphoric. If that's how you are now, you are not ready to come back into this game. Okay, it's the inverse of the feeling all the doom and despair and fear. I think that the feelings of excitement and euphoria are way more dangerous to you than fear. So just be aware of that. Not trying to put a damper on all the success we've had. Just trying to keep it real, if that's the phrase. Anyways, again, tomorrow we should have more activity. Tuesdays seem to have a lot more activity than Mondays. We should see a lot more trades kind of forming up as we move into the day, and that should extend into some great trades. Looking forward to tomorrow. And I hope you guys had a great weekend. Hope you guys have a great Monday and the rest of your trading day. And let's start off this week very, very good and on a positive note. So I will visit with you all tomorrow. Bye. Bye-bye.